You feel that, don't you? That strange shift in the air, that pressure, that tension, that weird little energy people throw at you when your name starts carrying weight in rooms you haven't even walked into yet. Some people call it jealousy, some call it hate, some call it bad vibes. Some dress it up in spiritual language because it sounds deeper. But you know what it really is? It is panic. It is the panic of people who realized you did not break the way they expected. It is the panic of people who whispered on your downfall and then had to watch you get sharper in the fire. It is the panic of people who sent doubt, shade, betrayal, manipulation, envy, fake support, weird energy, silent sabotage, and every ugly little piece of themselves in your direction, only to find out your soul does not digest poison the way theirs does. Yours turns it into fuel. That is why their spell hit your aura and got eaten alive, not blocked, not dodged, not politely returned to sender, eaten alive. Because there comes a point in your life where you stop being fragile in the places people were counting on. There comes a point where every cry, every betrayal, every lonely night, every humiliating moment, every time you were overlooked, every time people played with your name like it was cheap, all of it starts building something inside you that is not normal anymore. You become spiritually dangerous. Not because you became evil, because you stopped being easy to access. See, a lot of people misunderstand power. They think power is loud. They think power is revenge. They think power is proving yourself to every clown with an opinion and every snake with a smile. No. Real power is when people try to disturb your peace and end up exposing their own weakness. Real power is when somebody sends you chaos and your inner world is so disciplined, so locked in, so battle-tested that their darkness has nowhere to land. It just burns up on contact. That is what terrifies them about you. It is not just that you survived. It is how calm you got after surviving. That kind of calm scares people. That kind of calm does not come from comfort. It comes from war. You did not become this because life was soft with you. You became this because life dragged you through seasons that should have erased you. Seasons where nobody checked on you. Seasons where you had to smile in public and bleed in private. Seasons where your own mind was a battlefield. Seasons where people only loved the version of you they could control. Seasons where you gave your heart to people who only knew how to use it as a temporary shelter while they built strength to leave. And somehow, through all of that, you learned something most people never learn. Pain can either make you easier to destroy or harder to reach. You chose the second one. That is why nonsense does not hit you the same anymore. That is why fake love does not seduce you the same anymore. That is why disrespect lights something in you now instead of collapsing you. That is why when people try to project their curses, their insecurity, their evil eye, their little broken world thinking onto you, your aura does not panic. It feeds. Because your spirit has seen worse than another person's bitterness. Your spirit has survived your own darkest days. And once you've survived the war inside yourself, outside attacks start looking real small. That is the part nobody talks about. People love the glow. They love the confidence. They love the mysterious energy. They love the way you walk into a space and somehow the room adjusts. But they do not understand what it cost. They do not understand that your aura is expensive because suffering paid for it. Your discernment was paid for in heartbreak. Your boundaries were paid for in betrayal. Your self-respect was paid for in all the moments you begged the wrong people to see your worth. Your silence was paid for in years of explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. So now when somebody sends weird energy your way, your soul recognizes the pattern before your mind even finishes naming it. You can feel when someone is smiling with their mouth and resenting you with their spirit. You can feel when support is fake. You can feel when a compliment has poison tucked inside it. You can feel when somebody is watching you not to admire you, but to study your light and figure out how to interrupt it. And the old you might have ignored that. The old you might have doubted yourself. The old you might have called it overthinking. But the version of you standing here now, that version knows. That version reads energy like subtitles. That version is no longer available for confusion. And that changes everything, because once you stop second-guessing what your spirit already picked up, you move different. You speak less. You reveal less. You beg less. You trust slower. You protect your peace like it is sacred because it is. You stop treating your access like a charity program for people who have done nothing but mishandle your presence. And people notice. Oh, they notice. They notice when they can't get a reaction out of you anymore. They notice when your silence starts feeling heavier than their noise. They notice when your glow gets brighter after every attempt to drain you. They notice when their gossip does not shrink you. They notice when rejection does not slow you down. They notice when distance does not weaken your confidence. They notice when the stuff that used to break you now just upgrades you. That is when the attacks get weirder. Because when insecure people cannot control your emotions, they start trying to disturb your spirit. When they cannot compete with your discipline, they start resenting your peace. When they cannot access your mind, they start hoping fear can. But what they do not understand is this: your aura is not soft just because it is light. Some light is not decoration. Some light is a weapon. Some light is fire. Some light was born in places so dark that darkness can never intimidate it again. That is your energy now. You are not glowing because life is perfect. You are glowing because hell could not hold you. Read that in your chest. You are not rising because nobody touched you. You are rising because everything they threw at you got processed, crushed, absorbed, and turned into momentum. That betrayal, it sharpened your discernment. That abandonment, it taught you how to stand alone without becoming empty. That disrespect, it forced you to meet the version of yourself that no longer negotiates with nonsense. That season of loss, it stripped the fake from your life and left you face to face with what is real. That smear campaign, it trained you to stop needing applause from people with rotten intentions. That heartbreak, it broke your illusions, not your destiny. And once illusions die, power gets clearer. Now you see things faster. Now you leave sooner. Now you do not romanticize red flags. Now you do not hand your energy to people just because they know how to say the right words. Because words are cheap. Energy tells the truth. Pattern tells the truth. Consistency tells the truth. Pressure tells the truth. And you, out of all the painful lessons, learned how to watch what people do when they are jealous, when they are losing, when they are exposed, when they are ignored, when they realize they cannot manipulate you anymore. That is where the mask slips. That is where you saw it. That is where you understood that not everybody around you was clapping because they believed in you. Some were clapping because they thought you would never outgrow them. Some were smiling because they assumed your ceiling was low. Some were encouraging you only as long as your confidence stayed harmless. But then something changed. You stopped asking for permission to evolve. You stopped apologizing for becoming harder to play with. You stopped shrinking your presence to make insecure people comfortable. You stopped turning down your brightness just because other people built identities around dim rooms. And once you did that, their energy got loud, not your problem. Let them choke on the fact that you healed. Let them sit with the discomfort of watching somebody they underestimated become untouchable. Let them deal with the reality that your peace is no longer available for public sabotage. Because this is what they never expected. They thought your heart would stay open in a naive way forever. They thought your kindness meant weakness. They thought your patience meant permission. They thought your silence meant you did not notice. They thought your compassion meant you would keep giving chances until there was nothing left of you. Wrong. You just had to learn. And once people like you learn, you do not go back. That is why your presence feels different now. There is warmth, yes. There is depth, yes. There is soul, yes. But there is also danger. There's also a line. There is also a force field built from lessons you paid for in blood, tears, time, and dignity. Now when energy comes at you crooked, it does not just fail. It reveals itself. That is the beauty of a strong aura. It exposes people without you having to argue. You do not need to announce who is fake. Your peace will make them uncomfortable enough to expose themselves. You do not need to scream when betrayal enters the room. Truth has a way of making unstable people itch. You do not need to fight every battle. Some battles end the moment your spirit refuses to carry what was never yours. And that is a lesson a lot of people need to hear today. Not everything thrown at you belongs to you. Not every insult deserves internal storage. Not every opinion deserves rent in your mind. Not every attack deserves a response. Not every evil eye deserves your fear. Some things are supposed to hit your aura and disintegrate because they were never built to survive contact with a soul that has done its inner work. That inner work matters. It matters more than image, more than aesthetics, more than talk, more than quotes and captions and pretending to be healed online, because life will test what social media cannot see. Life will test your spirit in empty rooms. Life will test your peace when money gets funny. Life will test your confidence when love disappears. Life will test your discipline when nobody is watching. Life will test your faith when you are tired, misunderstood, and tempted to become something ugly just because ugly touched you first. And that right there is where your real power was built. Not in performance, in private, in those moments where you could have become bitter and chose clarity, where you could have become cruel and chose restraint, where you could have become chaotic and chose control, where you could have become desperate and chose standards, where you could have begged for crumbs and chose solitude instead. That is why your aura has teeth now, because your healing was not passive, it was warfare. You had to wrestle your own doubts. You had to sit with your own wounds. You had to break soul ties. You had to outgrow old versions of yourself that kept trying to drag you back to the familiar. You had to stop romanticizing people who only loved you in ways that kept you small. You had to stop betraying yourself just to avoid being alone. You had to stop answering every call from chaos like it had your name on it. You had to rebuild your mind brick by brick when life knocked the whole structure down. And now, look at you. Harder to fool, harder to shake, harder to manipulate, harder to bait, harder to curse. That did not happen by accident. That happened because somewhere along the line you realized your life was too valuable to keep being spiritually available to everybody. So now your energy filters people before your mouth even says a word. Now your body tells you when something is off. Now your intuition sounds louder than somebody's pretty lies. Now your peace matters more than being liked. Now your alignment matters more than fitting in. And yes, that will make some people call you distant, cold, different, too much, hard to read, too intense. Let them. People always label what they cannot access. People always criticize what they cannot contaminate. People always mock what they secretly fear. And what they fear in you is not your anger. It is your immunity. They cannot stand that what used to work on other people no longer works on you. They cannot stand that guilt does not control you. They cannot stand that flattery does not hypnotize you. They cannot stand that silence does not scare you. They cannot stand that walking away does not kill you. They cannot stand that being alone no longer looks like punishment on you. It looks like power. That changes the game. Because a person who is no longer afraid to lose people becomes very difficult to control. A person who has already survived being abandoned becomes very difficult to threaten. A person who learned to validate themselves becomes very difficult to manipulate. A person who found peace in their own company becomes very difficult to trap with fake intimacy. That is you now. You are no longer standing in life with a hungry spirit begging strangers to tell you who you are. You know who you are. And because you know, nonsense has lost its magic. That is why their spell got eaten alive. Because their spell required insecurity to survive. It required self-doubt. It required your agreement. It required your confusion. It required you to still be small inside. But you are not small inside anymore. You have been cracked open too many times. You have seen too much. You have outgrown too many illusions. You have carried too much weight to still be threatened by petty energy. Now when darkness comes near you, it finds structure. It finds awareness. It finds a mind that has been retrained. It finds a spirit that has already walked through internal hell and came back with a crown made of nerve. And there is something beautiful about that. Something savage, something holy. Because you did not just survive ugly seasons. You made them useful. That is mastery. Turning poison into perspective. Turning betrayal into boundaries. Turning grief into depth. Turning loneliness into self-respect. Turning rejection into redirection. Turning spiritual attack into proof that your light has become too expensive for weak people to afford. Read your own life correctly. Not everybody hates you because you did something wrong. Not everybody distances themselves because you failed. Not every weird shift is random. Sometimes your growth irritates people who built comfort out of your old wounds. Sometimes your healing offends people who benefited from your confusion. Sometimes your confidence triggers people who only felt powerful when you were doubting yourself. Sometimes your discipline exposes people whose whole identity is built on excuses. Sometimes your peace becomes a mirror, and insecure people hate mirrors. That is not your burden to carry. Your burden is to stay clean inside, to stay sharp, to stay aware, to stay rooted, to keep your soul clear enough that when something dark comes near you, It has no matching frequency to latch onto. That is the real flex. Not pretending nothing touches you, but becoming so aligned that what touches you gets transformed. You still feel pain. You still get disappointed. You still have moments where the pressure is heavy and the human part of you gets tired. But even in that, there is something different now. You recover faster. You see clearer. You come back stronger. You no longer drown in things that used to define your whole week, your whole month, your whole identity. Now you process, you learn, you cut cords, you reset, you move. That is growth. That is spiritual muscle. That is what makes your aura predatory to weak energy. Because weak energy needs an opening. Weak energy needs chaos inside you. Weak energy needs wounds you refuse to heal. Weak energy needs you addicted to external validation. Weak energy needs you emotionally messy and spiritually asleep. But every time you choose discipline over drama, you close the gate. Every time you choose truth over illusion, you close the gate. Every time you choose peace over proving a point, you close the gate. Every time you choose self-respect over fake connection, you close the gate. Every time you choose to sit with yourself and do the ugly inner work nobody can clap for, you close the gate. And eventually, your energy becomes the kind that ugly intentions cannot digest. They bounce, they burn, they starve, they get eaten alive. So let them throw what they throw. Let them watch, let them whisper, let them study your moves from a distance and still fail to understand why you keep rising. Because what they are looking at is not luck. It is not random. It is not just vibes. It is the result of a soul that stopped playing with its own power. It is the result of a person who finally understood that protecting your peace is not selfish. It is survival. That saying no is not cruelty. It is clarity. That walking away is not weakness. It is wisdom. That being selective is not arrogance, it is self-respect. That silence is not emptiness, it is control. And control scares people who only know how to operate in confusion. So keep becoming harder to curse. Keep becoming harder to access. Keep becoming harder to read for people who do not deserve a map to your inner world. Keep becoming so whole that envy cannot enter without exposing itself. Keep becoming so disciplined that chaos gets tired trying to seduce you. Keep becoming so rooted that manipulation feels childish the second it gets near your spirit. Because this world is full of people who will smile and still hope you fail. Full of people who will praise your face and resent your existence. Full of people who will say they love your light while secretly waiting for dimmer days. But none of that has to own you. None of that has to stain you. None of that has to rewrite your story. You are not here to carry the projections of broken people. You are not here to shrink because somebody else is disturbed by your evolution. You are not here to explain your glow to people committed to darkness. You are here to become so real, so clear, so internally powerful that whatever comes against you leaves weaker than it arrived. That is the energy. That is the standard. That is why the room changes when you walk in now. That is why people feel you before you speak. That is why some love you, some envy you, some misunderstand you, and some cannot even make eye contact for long. Your aura tells the truth before your mouth does. And today, whether they call it a spell, a curse, an evil eye, jealousy, sabotage, fake love, bad energy, manipulation, or plain old hate, it does not matter, because whatever they sent found the wrong soul. It found somebody who turned suffering into strength. It found somebody who stopped bleeding for an audience. It found somebody who stopped negotiating with disrespect. It found somebody whose spirit learned how to eat darkness and still ask for more.